Hey guys, I am here to do bit of a bit of a doozy. I know I said I would do lighter content. I'm sorry. This was actually from a suggestion from my partner, who thought that maybe this would be a healthy experience for me, that maybe someone else will understand what I've been through. So let me know in the comments if any of these hit home for you, and I would love to hear what you've also gone through, because it's definitely easier when you're able to talk about it. So I'm going to be doing this as probably like a 3-part series because I'm 24 and it's a long time. I only got up to age 8 before I realized it would be an incredibly long video. So I'm going to start out with ages 6 through 8 and I'm going to go from there, basically. Alright, so I have my phone here because I kind of need something written down so I don't just zone off and get caught in it, you know? And so here I go. We're starting with the most obvious trauma. If you've watched any of my unedited rants, which I don't blame you if you haven't. So this might be new news for you. At age 6, I was sexually assaulted by my older brother. In the middle of the night, he woke me up, lured me to his room, and said that if I let him do what he wanted, he would be nice to me for a week. And at that point in my life, I had already come to understand that the people in my household were not nice to me. So I accepted trade. I did not know that what he would be doing was touching me sexually. And so I ended up agreeing to something without knowing what it was going to do to my life. After that, he kind of took up a campaign of devaluing what I had to say in front of my mom, making me out to do things for attention even when I wasn't doing anything. It was pretty fucking terrible. I'm not gonna lie. Also, when I was age 6, I saw my mother slap my 2-year-old brother so hard in his mouth that it started bleeding. I remember that scaring me because I'd never seen someone do that to a literal baby. And he was crying and his bottom lip started bleeding, and she only seemed to care as much that she wanted to clean it up, but that was basically it. And my mom has always been like that, and yet she thinks she's not a terrible person. I have no idea. Your guess is as good as mine. At age 6 as well, and I count this on my trauma list because it affected me and it still affects me. Like, I'm nervous right now. Level it affects me. I went to a karaoke for my childhood friend Jake's sister's birthday party. And while I was at that birthday party, there was karaoke. And I loved singing, so I wanted to do the karaoke, but it was my very first time doing it. And so I got up there and realized there were a lot of people. This would be the time that you would expect a normal parent to encourage their kid. Go, you can do it. Like, come on, it's okay. We're all here for you. Stuff like that, right? You know, parent stuff. No. The woman who I had to call my mother for a majority of my life told me to hurry the fuck up in front of a group of adults when I was 6. I got so nervous, I decided not to sing, and after that developed stage fright. And I still deal with stage fright, and I still deal with a lot of self-criticism when I'm doing anything performative, because I think back to that day. Age 7, 2nd grade, I started getting bullied at school. My best friend, who had basically kind of been a buffer for people putting up with my really unfortunate personality traits at the time, stopped being my friend. Probably because I was really obsessive and weird, and I didn't understand why he stopped being my friend, and he didn't explain. And so I started being really freaky about that, and I can explain that in another video. But it ended up being quite a huge problem. As soon as he stopped being friends with me, anyone who was friends with him and didn't like me, that was it. I suddenly noticed that I had no friends, that I had assumed that the people who hung around me because they wanted to hang out with my best friend at the time liked me. They didn't. So I had to learn how to socialize, and I didn't actually get to do that until I was about 13 because kids did not like me. And any new kid that came to school, the other kids let them know not to go around me, or they would stop associating with them. So I spent my entire elementary school years being bullied. Spent all of my middle school years being bullied. And was basically bullied in some form or another until 11th grade when I left school. So yeah, I have a lot of trauma regarding that, and so it's included in this list. Alright, now we're on age 8. I would give you a warning about this next thing, but I assume that if you made it past age 6, you're gonna be okay. When I was 8, my older brother knocked me to the ground by my neck and screamed, "Shut the fuck up," this far from my face. I felt the warm breath. I felt his spit hit my face. You know why? You know why he decided that that was the course of action to do? At 16 years old, I woke him up from a nap. Why did I wake him up, you may ask? I was crying because me and my friend Jake were playing with my Barbies, and we were doing this like weird role play thing we always did. And he threw a ball at the Barbie because we were like doing this battle scene, and he broke my favorite Barbie's head off of her neck. Once you break a Barbie's neck, just for those who aren't socialized with Barbies, you can't put the head back on the way it was before. Like, it won't be able to move like this. You have to shove the neck on, and their heads look like this. And it just ruins the whole Barbie, basically, because the head starts ripping at the seam. Like, basically that's just the end for any Barbie, and it was my favorite. And I have borderline, so anything that I'd attached to in that way was like my favorite thing, and that was not a good moment for me. So I started crying. Jake's apologizing. He didn't need to apologize. He didn't mean to break it, but I was still upset with him, so maybe apologizing was a good idea. But he was following me down the hallway. I am starting to cry. Like, I am crying, and then I am bawling, and then I am just losing it when I get to the end of this hallway and realize my mom's not home. I thought she was gonna be there, and even though you've heard all those other stories about my mom, for some reason I still thought my mom was a comforting source. So when I was upset, I went to find her and found no one. So I'm in the living room crying my eyes out. All of a sudden I hear the door open, and I'm thinking, oh, someone's here to comfort me. I can tell them what happened. And so I turn around and I just see 6'2" angry 16-year-old storming towards my tiny ass, and he took me by the throat and shoved me down. That's why he did it. I woke him up from a nap, and that was his response. Yep. So moving on, CPS was actually called twice on my home, and I can't tell you for sure if both of these happened when I was 8. I just remember being in elementary school, and I remember it being a very big problem. So the first time CPS was called, or at least the first time that I remember CPS was called, one of our downstairs neighbors actually called on my mom as a result of her hitting us and screaming at us and us crying, and they heard that, so they called CPS like a normal, rational adult would. And my mother was furious with him, demonized him to all of us. We were all to see him as a horrible person for doing that. He was trying to separate our family and break us apart, and it wasn't even that big of a deal. And like, as far as us kids knew, it's like, yeah, why would he do that? So mean. We can't talk to him. He's so mean. You can see why I feel spiteful about that. So the second time, I can't remember what grade it was, I was talking to my school counselor, And the reason I can't remember what grade it was, because I was literally just having a conversation with this woman. I did not go there with the intention of, I'm gonna tell them what my mother's been doing. I went there because I was getting bullied. I didn't want to be around other kids. So I went there to talk to her because she was nice to me. And I just talked to her about what was happening at home. I was just like, I would tell stories of like, oh, I annoy my mom all the time, and then she says she's gonna beat me, and like, these were normal for me. I don't think my mother understood that she had normalized being hit for me. So I didn't see anything wrong with what I was saying to this counselor. Like, why would I? If she's not doing anything wrong, then why would I see it as wrong? And my school counselor became concerned for good reason and called CPS. That's when I got in trouble with my mom. And she told me that I was going around making things up and I was just trying to cause problems. And didn't I know that was a joke, even though she would validate it by hitting us? But I wasn't allowed to talk to counselors after that. And the next time I would be able to talk to any kind of mental health professional would be after I came out as transgender, because she wanted it to go away. That's all about that I have for this video. Dang, it's like super long. Sorry guys, if you made it through this, make sure to give me a like, just so I know you made it to the end. And go ahead and comment if you've gone through anything like this. Let me know. I want to see other people feeling okay to talk about what they've been through. I was told my whole life that I was just dramatic for wanting to talk about this. And you know what? That's bull. It's okay to need to talk about what happened to you. It's okay that you're still processing it. No matter how long it's been. It's okay. And I'll hear you. So, I'm glad that I got to talk to y'all. Made me feel a lot better, honestly. And I'll see you next time on the other side of the screen.